Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Basic Education Board.
Hello students, a very warm welcome to the TV learning program. As usual, I'm Teacher Herbert, and I will be taking you through the biology of Thin Year 3, and the lesson of today is concerning about population, and it is biology and health science, which is unit 2, which is concerning about population size. And then it is for lesson of Thin Year 3 class, which is lesson 1. We have, in this lesson, we're going to be discussing about the learning objective of that lesson is to define about population, state the factors affecting the rate of population growth of an organism, and also we also have to identify the phases in Sigmund population growth curves and give the explanation for each phase. So students, as you know, when we talk about population, we must be having some key terms that we have to discuss about population. One of the key terms we're going to discuss is about population. We are going to have the key terms in that unit. We have to discuss about population. We have to discuss about population size. We also have to discuss about population growth. Here, students, there are a number of definitions that we are going to go through, and also you note it if you have your books. Get your books and write those definitions that are in that lesson we're going to discuss today. What is population, students? When you talk about population, students, think about it in a short term, and we define what is population. And what is population size? And lastly, what do you understand by population growth? Here are the definitions, and you can take a note about the definition, the important key terms in the unit. Population, what is population? Is the total number of all organisms of the same species living in a specific area at a particular time. Because as time goes on, population can change. There are a number of factors that can lead to the decrease of population. So here is the definition, is the total number of organisms of the same species living in an area at a particular time. Student, we are saying that living in a particular area at a particular time. We are a population, we are the same species. Human beings, they are the same species, living in a particular area at a particular time. Number 2, population size, the actual number of individuals in population. The actual number of individuals in a population is referred to as a population size. We have another definition, population growth is the rate at which the number of individuals in population increases in a given time period. In a given time period, the population can increase. And we are going to discuss some of the factors that can make population to increase. There are a number of factors that can cause population to increase, and also there are a number of factors that can make population to decrease. And we're going to think about those factors that makes a population to increase, and some of the factors that makes a population to decline or to decrease. So that is the definition of population growth, is the rate at which the number of individuals in a population increases in a given time period. Once the number of individuals are increasing at a given time period, that one is referred to as a population growth. So also we can talk about expressing as a fraction of initial population. When you get to the fraction of the initial population, that one is referred to be a population growth. Let me just give an example. Maybe you can have in terms of month. In months we have 1,000, maybe 1,000 rabbits. After 2 months, the rabbits can just be increased by 1.1%. After 2 months, it will just be increased. First month it is 1,000. Second month is 1,000. Then you multiply by 1.5, which is a percentage increasing by 1%. Then you will ending up having more at the end of the year. We will be having almost the doubling of the population that has increased. Quickly, let's talk about some of the factors that can affect population growth. And I mentioned that for the population to become healthy, there must be some of the factors. One, it is food supply. When there's enough food, the population can increase. When there's a scarcity of food or shortage of food, the population cannot increase rather the population will decline. We also talk about the availability of water can also favor a population to increase. Space is another factor that can make, if there is availability of space where organisms there's no any limiting factor that limits the population to increase, that one also favors the population to increase. And we talked about food supply, I talked about water, we talked about space, all these are factors that can make the population to increase. But we also know that the population can also slow down or can also decline because of some of the factors. Take an example, the outbreak of the disease. A number of population can decrease maybe when there is an outbreak of a pandemic. The population will decrease. You also talk about environmental factors. We talk about environmental factors that involves natural calamities. We talk about floods. We talk about these natural calamities can also cause some population to decline or to slow down. And raw food is also another factor that can make a population to decline. Let's talk about factors that affect population size. Factors, what are the factors? Factors that affect population size. As I mentioned, that population size is the actual number of individuals, in a population. That one is population size. What are the factors that affect population size? Let's talk about some of the factors that can affect population size. There are a number of factors that can affect population size. Students, think about what are the factors that will affect population size. Number one, we have birth rate. This is another factor, birth rate, or we call it to be natality rate. We have number two, death rate, can also another factor that can affect population size. Birth rate, or sometimes you call it mortality rate. Then number three, we have another factor that can affect population size. We talk about immigration. What are immigration? These migration refers to the individuals that are moving into the population or are moving into a specific area. If organisms or individuals are moving from one area to another area, that one can cause population to increase. That one can affect our population size. Talk about immigration. Number four, we can talk about immigration. What is migration? Number of individuals that are moving out of the specific area. Or you can say number of individuals that are moving out of the population. Or number of individuals that are moving out of a specific area. That one can also affect population size. Another one we can talk about, another factor that can affect it is number 5, we can talk about food supply. When there is abundant food supply or when the food is enough, that one can also favor a population to increase. Food supply is another thing that can favor population to increase, can also affect the population size. Another factor, you can think about other factors. Another factor that can affect population size, which is number 6, we can talk about predation. Here in predation, when the number of predators are increased, it means that the number of prey are going to decrease. Because if we have more predators, the predators are greater than prey, or eventually the number of prey will decline. So predation could be one of the factors that may reduce the population size. So the population size can just be reduced by predation. Number 7, another factor, we can talk about diseases. The outbreak of diseases. Take an example, like the outbreak of coronavirus made some of the countries' population to decline because it was an outbreak of the disease. I am giving an example of the coronavirus, which is a pandemic, which is a disease. And that disease made some of the population of some of the countries to decline because the disease is very serious problem in a large population. A large population can just be decreased because of what you call outbreak of the disease. Because the disease can just be spread easily from one individual to another individual when the population is densely populated. When the population is densely populated, it means it is very easy to reduce the population size very rapidly. So the population size will just decrease rapidly because of the outbreak of disease. So students, let's go through what you call a birth rate or natality rate. Birth rate refers to the number of births per population, in a population. The number of births in population that can be one of the factors that can favor the population to increase. We talk about the death rate. The death rate is the number of deaths in population. If the number of deaths in population is very high, that can also affect the population size. We have immigration. I said immigration refers to the number of individuals that are coming into the population or that are coming into the specific area. If there is a number of individuals that are coming into a specific area, that one will cause the population to increase. Then in terms of this, for the case of immigration, that is the number of individuals that are getting out from the population, or that are going out of the specific area. So if the number of individuals in a specific area, the number of individuals that are getting out from specific area, that can also affect population size. I said food. When there's enough abundant, when the food is abundant, when the food is excess, that one favors the population to increase very rapidly. And once the food supply is very less, that one also makes to affect the population size. I talked about predation. When the predation is very high, that one meaning the prey are going to decrease because they will just be feeding on prey, and eventually the number of prey are going to decrease. I talked about disease. I mentioned about the outbreak of the disease. Is a serious problem that affects population size. Where I talked about easily where the population is very large, easy spread of the disease can happen, and that one can cause a rapid decline in population. So let's go quickly to what we call population growth curves. Population growth curves. We talk about population growth curves. Let's talk about population growth curves. Population growth curves. What do you understand by population growth curves? The number of population growth curves are made up of three phases. Population growth curves. Population growth curves. When we talk about population growth curves, students think about it, and then we try to explain what are the major phases that makes a population growth curve. We have to go through and we understand what are the phases of the population growth curves. There are three phases of population growth curves. There are three phases of population growth curves. Growth curve. If I say there are three phases of population growth curve. Number one is we have number one, which is the rag phase. Number 2, we have phase 2. Roman 2 is the log phase. Log phase, sometimes we call it the exponential phase. Exponential phase. We have 3, the third phase is the stationary phase. Stationary phase. We also have number 4, which is not very common, which is the death phase. Death phase, or we call it the decline phase. Decline phase. So students, think about it in a short time, and then you try to explain what are those phases and what are the major characteristics, what characterizes each those phases. I mentioned about lag phase, we have log phase, we have stationary phase, and death phase, which you can also going to discuss about these four phases of population growth. But the major ones are 3. We have lag phase, log phase, stationary phase, and the death phase, or the decline phase. But in actual sense, before we talk about that one, we should bear in mind that before this one happens, before the population can increase, we have to note something, but we also have to note something. Note this. Take a note about that. We need the birth rate and immigration are greater than the death rate and immigration. What will happen? The population will increase. Here, population size, the population size will increase. Population size will increase. And there's no time when the birth rate is greater than the death rate. But when we have, now when the birth rate and immigration is less than death rate and migration, what will happen? And immigration, that one, immigration. It is immigration. This is the population size. The population size will decline or will decrease. So that is something that we are rating with what the factors that affect population size. Then quickly, let's talk about these phases. Lag phase, log phase, stationary phase, and death phase, or decline phase. Students, think about it, and we try to talk about what characterizes each phase. I will try to first draw the graph that shows a growth phase. This is a graph that shows growth curve. And sometimes we call it to be sigmoid curve. How are you going to draw the sigmoid curve? The sigmoid curve is made up of 3 major things that I'm going to draw. We have, this is the graph. But before we talk about that graph, I will first show you the graph which is called J-shaped phase. There's a J-shaped phase and a sigmoid curve. The J-shaped phase is made up of, the sigmoid curve is made up of 4. Let me try to draw the sigmoid graph. This is time. These are the number of individuals present, number of individuals number of individuals, the number of individuals. Now, at the beginning, I will just draw the graph, like the graph will be starting we call it to be sigmoid curve or S-shaped curve. Or S-shaped curve. S-shaped curve, as you can see, that letter looks to be somehow like S. This is S-shaped curve. It is like a letter S. And it is divided into these phases, as I'm trying to show you, these phases that I'm going to try to mention them. We have starting from here, we have here, let me try to draw it. We have that one. And we have the last one, which is that one. This is one. This is phase 1. This is phase 2. This is phase 3. So let us discuss about what happened to each phase. At the beginning, you can see the number of individuals. These are the number of individuals. The number of individuals. The number of individuals at the beginning, they are not multiplying very rapidly. The size of the population is growing very slowly. Here, they are increasing very slowly. And when we reach to the phase 2, which is, you can see there is a continuous increase in population. On phase 3, the population is no longer increasing. The population is now stationary. So let us try to identify those phases. This is the first one. As you can see, the first one, from up to here. That one you call it to be J-shaped phase. In the J-shaped phase, we have two phases. We have one is, I call it, number one is the rag phase. Number one is rag phase. Phase 2 is the log phase. 3, I said log phase, sometimes you call it to be exponential. And exponential phase. Then phase 3, we call it to be stationary phase. That one is a stationary phase. We have stationary phase. Let me start with that. We have rag phase, log phase, or exponential phase, stationary phase, and we have the last one, which is not mentioned there, which is the decline phase. So let me try to explain what happens to these phases. In rag phase, the population is multiplying at a smaller rate because there are smaller number of individuals, there are less number of mating partners, so the number of individuals are not increasing very rapidly. They are increasing at a slow rate. When it comes to the rag phase, or what you call a J-shaped phase, from here this is a J-shaped phase. The log phase or exponential phase, the individuals are multiplying rapidly. They are doubling. They are doubling from 2 to 4, then from 4 to 8, from 8 to 16, and so on and so forth. The number of individuals are multiplying. Here in the log phase, there's no any environmental resistance. The population is increasing rapidly because there's no any limiting factors. Take an example, food is enough, space is enough, they can multiply, reproduction is very high, so here the organisms are multiplying at a very high rate on what you call the log phase or exponential phase. When it comes to the last phase, which is the stationary phase. The stationary phase, the individuals or the organs are no longer multiplying because there is what you call environmental resistance. They have multiplied, they have doubled themselves. They are becoming very many. And if they're becoming very many, they're going to exceed what we call carrying capacity. Student, when I say carrying capacity, what do you understand? The maximum number of individuals, an environment can accommodate. I go back to this one. Here we can talk about in log phase. There's what we call a maximum, I can say the maximum rate of multiplication because there are not any environmental resistance. But here there are some environmental resistance. They're becoming very many. Competition is very high. And if the competition is very high, that one we can cause the organs no longer multiply. Instead, they reach on a stage on what you call, they have reached on what you call extremity. They are no longer multiplying because there are some of the environmental resistance and they become stationary. On stationary, if now there's an outbreak of a disease, that one can also lead into a decline phase. So let me just make a summary. Rag phase is where there is no significant multiplication of individuals. Log phase or exponential phase, there's a significant multiplication of individuals, and that one shows that there is no any environmental resistance. The organisms are multiplying rapidly. Then in stationary phase, the competition is becoming very high because the number of individuals has been increased. Then eventually, that one will become stationary because there are some of the limiting factors, environmental factors that limits them not to multiply. Student, quickly, let's go to the home assignment that I will just go through with you, the home assignment. And the home assignment I'm leaving is what is population? What is population? You put a question mark. Differentiate between population and population size. C, discuss why we are talking of overpopulation, yet we still have a vast open spaces on Earth. Number 2, the following shows a population growth curve. These are number of individuals. We have phase 1, we have phase 2, and phase 3. Indicate the growth phases on the curve. Lastly, describe the growth phases. You describe those phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And then here I left with you a reference book where you can get that information that I'm giving you, Biology and Health Science for Rwanda Secondary School, Senior 3 book. So students, thank you very much for being with me in my lesson. Hope to see you in the next lesson. Thank you very much. I'm Teacher Herbert, and keep in touch.